I want to talk about Spygate because this is really interesting. The latest development at the moment, as things stand, well, this is what's happening. Middlesbrough, Hull City in the Championship playoff final. Southampton went to appeal the decision for them to compete in that Championship playoff final. They lost the appeal, so it means that will be happening on Saturday. However, the latest development is that this story in this Daily Telegraph, Hull scrap playoff final and promote us instead. So Hull City are exploring a case to be promoted automatically to the Premier League after Southampton's Spygate situation. Gabby, if you I was going to say, if you were a Hull player, would you just want to go up automatically, or would you want to play in that massive game at Wembley?
No. Go up automatically. I feel I can see where Hull are coming from, because who are they preparing for? You know, they think they're playing Southampton, then they get told 2 days ago, okay, you're going to be playing Middlesbrough now. They've got to change their preparation, and they'll say, we fairly got through our semi-final. Middlesbrough lost. Yes, there was cheating from Southampton, but there's a case there for Hull to say, Middlesbrough lost in the semi-final, we deserve to go straight to the Premier League. Obviously, that won't happen, but I can see the frustration from everyone to do with Hull.
Do you know, it's a funny one, Katie, as well. I'm even thinking about, and I know it doesn't, people will probably say it doesn't matter that much because I think they won the game, or they might have drawn the game. It was Oxford, who I think there was no spying in Oxford.
Oxford and Ipswich, Ali, as well. Three clubs, yeah.
I mean, Oxford boys get relegated, Ipswich in the running for promotion. What about those teams as well? I think they've got a case to be upset as well, Katie. I mean, the whole thing's developing into a little bit of a shambles, but we didn't think yesterday that there was any chance at all that the appeal would come through and they'd reverse the decision. And I think we're pretty unanimous. Most people I've spoken to, obviously Gabby and Andy Townsend was pretty adamant on it yesterday that the correct decision's been made.
Yeah. That's going to be an interesting game on Saturday to see who actually ends up going up to the Premier League.
Now, Spygate continues to dominate the back pages at the back of the Sun this morning. The headline is Eck faces the boot after Saints KO. Southampton appeal against being thrown out of the Championship playoff final for spying has been rejected. No surprise there, with boss Tonde Eckert reportedly facing the sack for the role he played in Spygate. Telegraph headline, Hull want playoff final scrapped. Now, to help us unravel all this madness and hopefully to explain where we are, a sports lawyer, Alistair Campbell. Alistair, a very good morning to you, and thanks very much for joining us. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm very good, thanks for having me.
Great stuff. Alistair, we clearly, I don't know what our forte is, but it's certainly not sports law. This whole thing seems to be it's a can of worms, effectively, isn't it? Can you enlighten us at all anyway, and what are your opinions on it?
It's a monumental mess. I think Southampton are going to have a big job on their hands legally and from a PR perspective to try and keep the dressing room on side, to try and keep the fans on side. There's an awful lot of work for them to do from now to before the start of next season to just hit the ground running, because they're going to have a 4-point deduction to overcome next season as well.
I want to ask you a question about the Southampton players, because we've been talking about this from a former player's point of view. The bonuses they would have got for promotion, the wage increase, it's going to cost the players millions. Do you think they've got a case to sue the club for loss of earnings?
Well, every player's contract will have clauses in it that say the player has to abide by the various rules applicable and the club has to abide by the various rules applicable. And now we've seen that the club hasn't done that in this case, and so certainly the players will be looking at that very carefully. You've got to remember they haven't won the final yet, so it would be what we call a loss of a chance claim. So you don't claim the full bonus because there's no guarantee you would have won the final and earned the bonus. But there's still a claim there potentially, yeah.
Alistair, tell me, they're often put to the back of a lot of people's thoughts, clubs' thoughts and situations like that, but you did mention them. What about the punters, Alistair? What about the Southampton fans that have booked travel, booked hotels, all that kind of stuff? I mean, and I hear what you're saying about the club might have a bit of work to do with them, but where do they stand?
I think it'd be quite difficult for a fan who's spent a bit of money on travel, hotels, etc., to go out and sue their club for that amount. You know, there are potentially thousands of these fans thousands of these potential claims, but I think that's probably quite a difficult thing to get through legally. You know, if I was advising the club now, I would be saying you've got to make a gesture to those fans. You've got to make it right somehow. Yeah. What that is it's not my area of expertise, but you know, they'll be thinking hard about how to make it up to those fans and how to really make up for something that's, you know, I've seen lots of fans being interviewed saying is a bit embarrassing for them.
Could you see something perhaps maybe along the lines of a reduction in season ticket prices or something like that? I don't know, for example.
That's certainly a gesture that would go down well with the fans. Obviously, there's going to be financial consequences to this for the club, with all the potential legal battles from the players and other clubs and so on. And reducing season ticket prices is going to be a further knock-on effect on revenue. And that will all factor into things like their compliance with the financial rules next season. So those are the big decisions that the board are going to have to make, and which something like reducing season ticket prices will obviously help with the fans, but you've got to remember the financial side of things too.
Alistair, it's a very messy situation, isn't it? But will Hull City have a claim? Say if they don't win the final, will they say that Middlesbrough, fair and square, lost the semi-final? Why do they get to play the final? Maybe Hull City should have been gone straight into the Premier League. Have they got a chance with that?
I think it's a bit difficult to say we should get a pass on the final, we Hull should get a pass on the final and go straight into the Premier League. I think, although this situation is entirely unprecedented, one of the ways you could look at this rule, the breach relates to specific matches, the Oxford match, the Ipswich match, the Middlesbrough match. And one way of looking at breaches of this rule is to say, well, we have to deem that match to have been lost. You know, you see for breaches of other rules, sometimes you get 3-0 walkovers, that kind of thing. If Southampton had been deemed to have lost that match, then Middlesbrough would have gone through. So that is one way of looking at the rules. I don't think Hull I don't think it would be right for Hull to get a pass into the Premier League.
Okay, Alistair, thanks very much for coming on this morning and explaining one or two things for us there. Really appreciate your time. Have a good day this morning. Now, as you heard, actually my mate's just already been on this morning, my mate. He says there's only one playoff game this weekend.
Oh.
Come on, the Wanderers.
Bolton.
Correct.
Yes.
Who have they got? Is it Stockport, I think, is it?
Is it?
I think it is, actually. I'm looking at my producer and he is giving me a thumbs up.